Andrew, when it comes to the world of investing in businesses, we're well aware that sometimes it's the management team that feels a great sense of pride when they not only have put in the blood, sweat and tears and their efforts to make sure that operational capacities are effective and efficient, but they might sit back sometimes and think, hold on, we've actually done such a phenomenal job here. We also want a stake in this business. Help us understand how RMB Ventures assists management teams with some of these thoughts.
So, Gugu, this is really the cornerstone of what we do. So, we will never invest in a business without management being invested alongside us, and it speaks to this nature of partnership that we've spoken about. And it's more than that. It's not just invested financially; it's truly invested. And as you mentioned, they are typically passionate about their businesses. It's everything. They throw lots of discretionary energy, as we call it, into their businesses, and we really want to harness that. And we feel that if we provide capital to those management teams to buy the business from the existing shareholders, which is what we do, we will truly unlock new energy for growth. And we love to go along for the ride with them, with those management teams, because ultimately it does create management. So we have a deep understanding of how these management buyouts work. We know how to structure them, we know how to negotiate them, we know how to bring management teams in, we know how to fund them, and we would do that initially, and then obviously provide additional value and guidance on how to truly unlock the full potential of that business.
Sure, that's quite extensive. I can imagine the amount of work that goes into that. So share a few examples as to how this unfolds in a practical experience.
Sure. So the one that I was personally involved with was a business called AMSOL, or African Marine Solutions. We bought alongside management a controlling interest from a Dutch multinational that owned the business back in 2016. And alongside management, we created the first black-owned fully South African marine services business, which for us in itself was just an exciting journey to be part of. Since then, effectively what we did is we said to the management team, right, so now the canvas, so to speak, is yours. And it's up to you to go and create what you want out of this business. And
wow.
We've sort of tried to enable them and empower them along the way. But it has definitely unleashed sort of fresh energy, and that business has certainly got a great future ahead of it.
Yeah, interesting how it speaks to empowerment, of course, transformation, and various themes that you also take into consideration. Share a few other examples as well that might speak to similar traits, perhaps in the transactions.
Empowerment is a very important theme for us, and we spend lots of time thinking about how we can empower our businesses, and how we can transform our businesses, including from an equity perspective. So maybe we can talk a little bit about a business that we bought. 3 businesses, in fact, that we bought from Murray & Roberts in 2013, Rockler, Technicrete and Ocon, which are concrete product businesses. We bought these businesses from Murray & Roberts alongside management again, and those management teams, once they were unconstrained from, let's call it the shackles of this holding company structure, suddenly started spending, it made them a lot more agile in terms of how they approached the market. The decisions that would typically take much longer, they could make quite quickly, because we would facilitate that. We were on the end of the phone whenever they need a decision made. We were there to do that. So they really could respond and create much more value in that business, and that certainly played out over the last 8 or 9 years. The other couple of examples, we bought 3 beautiful little businesses from Ascendus, one called AfriKelp, which is a kelp extraction business in the biosciences space. We bought Effecto, which is a herbicides and pesticides business, retail products, and we bought another business called Maltons, which is pet products. Again, really invigorated the management team, and they've done wonders with that business since we invested alongside them a few years back.
Almost sounds like you give these businesses a new lease on life, quite literally.
Absolutely, and as you know, businesses are all about people.
Yeah.
And people work for people, and when you have excited, passionate management teams, the rest of the employee base really does get energized and follow suit.